My name is András Török. I'm from Budapest. I'm 60 years old, and I'm a cultural manager and a retired former cultural policymaker. And I'm also an author of books. I'm on Budapest. I'm a sort of a chronicler of the Budapest scene. So I have two jobs. I say that I have a 9-to-5 job in this office in Better House, Budapest. I'm the founding director of Soma Artsin, which is an arts and business organization, a non-profit business. And also I have a 5 to 9 job next morning. And I'm the author of books on Budapest. And I'm also a columnist for a monthly called Budapest. And I'm a sort of a semi-official chronicler of the city of Budapest, what's happening here. And I've been publishing a book called Critical Guide for more than 25 years now. It's for foreigners, and there's a Hungarian version of the book. And I'm married, I have 3 daughters, and the youngest is still at home, and I have 3 beautiful grandchildren. 1984 was a very important year from the point of view of censorship in Hungary, because there is the book of George Orwell entitled 1984, and everybody anticipated something should happen in that year. I very clearly remember in '83 that we were speculating in the intellectual salons. I was a dissident at that time. I was the editor of an underground paper. I called myself Public Enemy 888. The FBI only lists from 1 to 10. And with that sort of epithet, I hinted at the fact that I was not a very brave man. I simply felt myself secure, and I loved that company. A couple of hundreds of people in Budapest, in the intellectual circles. I loved the parties, nice girls, and I never expected dictatorship to disappear. I didn't think I was going to live up to the time when this society melts down. So I was totally surprised when it happened a couple of years later. Then something really happened, because censorship was not very intensive in Hungary. Most of the books I was interested in were published, and soon in 1984, maybe in February, I don't remember the month, a long article was published in the most important literary weekly. It was called, it's still being published, Life and Literature, that's the title. The popular nickname is End-ish. That's how people call it, because that was a hint that there is neither literature nor life in that, but only end. That's the two things in between. And there was a long article about the book 1984, and it praised it, and it is talked about the subject, whether it is an anti-communist book or not. He said it is not an anti-communist book, and after the book was not published, because Orwell was an absolute taboo, but still it showed that sort of the liberal face of this evil and frustrating society. But the totalitarian society in Hungary was much milder than in Romania or Czechoslovakia. So I had some dissident friends from East Germany and from Prague. And then when we talked, I felt that they suffer every day from that society. In comparison, I didn't suffer at all. So I felt somehow that I have to remind myself that it's, after all, I have to remind myself every weekend. So not every day. I was a freelance teacher of English, and I was the author of some books, and food was enough and relatively cheap, and then I could read a lot, and I taught adult groups in a companies, and then by 9 o'clock every morning, I'm a nightingale type, so I can get up very early, very easily. And then from 7 o'clock, I was teaching groups of adults, or 7:30. And by 9 o'clock every day, I earned more or less enough money to get on. So I went to the library, reading, writing books. So I was a free intellectual. And I knew I'm on a list of the enemies of the state. I couldn't travel at that time, but foreign friends came and visited me often. So I remember that feeling that every day I personally was free, but society was not free at all. But honestly, things improved a little bit all the time. Then I felt that it will never be really free, but it was improving a bit. I remember that in 1984 I discovered that in the library, one of the libraries I attended, Time magazine and Newsweek was on the free shelf, so I liked it very much. I went there, I read, I felt as if I was in Paris or London. Then later on, a friend of mine joined the staff of the library and then told me that the Times and Newsweek always arrives to the desk of the director of the library. He just leaves it through, and whenever there was a sensitive information about the Soviet party chief's health, then he dropped to his drawer, and it didn't find its way to the free shelf. But at the end of the year, my friend told me, when they sent all the weeklies to the bookbinder to bind to the volume the full year, then they put it back, because last year's health problem of Soviet political chiefs is not interesting, not sensitive anymore. So that was that was the liberalism of Hungary. I also remember friends who visited me, and I remember a friend whom I showed around in Budapest, and I asked, "How did you like Budapest?" And she told me that, "Oh, Budapest is wonderful. It's like a Roman province, a couple of decades after the Romans had left," she told me, which was very insulting, but it was very, very true. I also remembered that it was a city without much colors. It was quite drab and it was quite dark. And the only interesting thing really was books also. Books and music. Musical life was very rich. And we could buy cheap Czech-made Supraphone records, LPs mainly, old-fashioned big records, because the CDs were very expensive and they didn't have a CD player at that time yet. So there were no computers, no mobile phones. And also I remember that I called foreign friends from street phone booths. There were certain street phones from where you could call foreign countries. And then some friends invented the 2-forint and sellotape method. This is a Hungarian invention. I don't think you have heard about it. We took a thread, and with sellotape, we fastened it to a 2-forint, and we just put it into the machine, and the telephone set sense that money is put into that constantly. So we could talk 10 to 20 minutes. There was always a queue because other dissidents knew about it. And after all, we anticipated that the Secret Service knew about it, or maybe they set up these phones because they could listen to what the dissidents are talking to foreign countries. But it was still an adventure. So at night, we went to talk to America, our friends in Western Europe, with the 2-forint and sellotape. I remember that from 1984. What else do I remember? well, this is maybe. I also divorced in 1984, or I moved away from my student wife and my lovely little girl. And it was a difficult time in my private life. But I decided it's the lesser evil to separate than to be in a terrible marriage. And it's proved to be a good decision. And at the end of the year, I started a new relationship with a younger lady, and then I married her 2 years later, and we have 2 more girls, and it seemed to be a success. So it's 1984 was a year that I was in limbo. I didn't know which way to go. I was looking for a career, so I did different things. Disillusionment is the first word that comes to my mind. When I was young, in 83 or 84, I expected change for the better. And for many years, it happened like that. And there is a terrible backlash now these years, especially in Hungary. Hungary was so much ahead of the countries in Central Europe. And then we wasted this. And we are at the back of the pack now. And then people are not interested in liberty anymore. I mean, the average people in the street. And so I have a double feeling, a controversial feeling, because I think Budapest has a lot of potential, but the country is hopeless as a whole. And Budapest cannot be really successful without the country, and country cannot be successful. So it's like New York and the United States. And Budapest is like that. Budapest is too big for the countries, too mundane, too successful, and two countries too controversial. So that's disillusionment. I never expected to feel like that. And personally, I feel quite successful. So I have some talents, and then I decided to help more talented people than I do. And then with this little organization, it's quite successful in that. And then I hope that it will survive me. So a couple of years' time I will retire and keep on being the chairman of the board of the foundation that owns the company. But I want to spend more time with writing new books. And I have very nice family and friends, and but I'm sorry for my country, and then while I was always proud of being Hungarian, and if abroad I told that I'm Hungarian, they looked at me with an interested eye, and then that is changing, fast changing. Not for me personally. My old friends don't think that they don't value me less than before, but the prestige of our country is just going down very sharp, and to change that direction seems to be impossible in the short run. So this disillusionment and this sadness is what comes to my mind about this period in Hungary. Otherwise, there is a renaissance of Hungarian literature and Hungarian arts. So it's a very, very, very busy and interesting art scene. I go to cinema almost, the theatre. I'm very much of a theatre person, and there is a fantastic theatre scene in Budapest. And also, I'm interested in the cinema, which is more interesting. And then I read books every week, a book or two, novels, poetry, and also in English and in French with difficulty. And I also write a newsletter for my friends and for our donors, a couple of hundred people, what to read, what to see in the theatre and the cinema, and what's new in Budapest. And this is great fun, because I'm a lousy manager, and then I built it into my office hours. So I'm a sort of a Mr. Budapest on one side, and the other side is I try to keep informed a wider circle of friends, also some of the richest people in Hungary, and I try to grill them to give money for the arts, and not without success. So I have personally a good and satisfying life, but my heart is bleeding for the country. And then for some time, I worked for the government for 4 years, and I was not a very successful administrator. I was a top administrator in the cultural life. I was deputy minister for culture for 1.5 years, and I was not very successful. Then I was the chairman of the National Cultural Fund that still exists in Hungary, and then I left it. So it's 4 years, from 94 to 98. I thought that more or less the same things will go on, but totally different things happen now. What else? Yes, the gastronomic revolution has also come to my mind. And the new cafes, new ruined pubs in Budapest. So it's an incredibly vibrant night scene in Budapest. I don't go there very often, but I'm enjoying So in Budapest there is just a narrow section of life that is put on the world map or the European map. So a lot of young people come to Budapest and enjoy Budapest very much. So that also comes to my mind. And what else? It's also family. So family, as I'm growing older, family is more important than before. When I was young, I was not interested in my family very much. I mean, my children, yes, but not the wider family. So I want to care for my family. My parents are still around and getting very old and sick, 83 and 89. But it's more important for me that. So I'm stuck in between generations. So that's also important for me. It's very bad to be old in Hungary because health system is not very good. So I decided to live forever. And if it's not possible, then I have a plan B, that I want to be a healthy old man. So I go to a gym 3 times a week and I eat much healthier than before. So growing old is inevitable, but I want to be a healthy old man, try to be healthy. And I also, my mind is changing into different things. We don't have a car anymore, and I will never have a car anymore. So I walk everywhere, try to walk everywhere with the public transport. Sometimes I rent a car or I borrow a car from one of my daughters. And also I want to own less things. So my world trends affect me very much. I'm a subscriber of the New Yorker magazine. I read it every week, and I feel that I'm changing. So I want to own less and less things. I want to share. If I have a camera, I want to give, and on the block, I want to give my things to other people, and I want to own less books, and then less things. I go to the video rental shop. I don't buy the DVDs. I give it away, books and everything, but still I want a new life. I want to contribute to the common good with that. So I want to leave behind a smaller carbon footprint. Not because I'm a very green person. I don't like nature. I never go. I'm an urban sort of animal. So I always enjoy cafes, my home, books, town, urban areas. If I go abroad, I always stay in towns, not to the beautiful landscapes. I like to read poems about the beautiful landscapes, but not going there. But I still feel it's better for me if I consume less. And also a new trend is the just how to say. I want to buy things that are good enough for me. Maybe the iPhone is the only thing which is world class and the best in the world what I want to use. But if I buy a shampoo or a soap or a deodorant or something like that, I want to buy good but not excellent and not the best brands in the world. I don't want to pay
money for that, but it's just good enough for me, or a camera or a computer. It's just okay. If it's good enough, then it's Best Buy in a way, and I can spend the money on concerts, films, travels, things like that. I was not a very important dissident. I knew my telephone was tapped, but I was not afraid. I was not afraid at all. I didn't care. I couldn't travel for some years. I didn't even try. So no. I only benefited from that. I mean, just I stopped being afraid. I knew I was not going to put in prison because I didn't know anything. Well, the underground paper, that was not the most important paper, but we translated things from other countries' underground papers. So I did it for 2 years. I was just correcting texts and translations. Hungary wanted to keep up a good profile for the West, partly because they wanted more credit, and they stopped putting people to prison. So they wanted to. This didn't happen. In the mid-1970s, it happened that people were put to, rather they forced people to emigration. That was, some people left Hungary. They were offered, just here's your passport, go wherever you want, but we don't want to put you to prison, they told them. Then they left. So there were many people came to the, I'm sure there must have been an informer among my friends. I don't want to know. I want to look ahead. I don't care. Though maybe if I'm getting older, I might try, because there are a lot of small things I don't remember anymore. Is recorded, that what they ate, what they were talking about, who they were going to bed with, things like that. So that's maybe interesting as a sort of a document of my life, but not for the time being. We are the same. I was a dissident, somehow outside normal society, and now I'm again. Everybody knows that I don't vote for the ruling party, because I belonged to another party that totally disappeared, the Liberal Party, and so I feel a dissident again. I think different, I live different than the others, so I feel quite different. Even the worst democracy is much better than the best mild totalitarian democracy. So it's never even flashed through my mind that it was better. Of course, I was younger. It was good, but otherwise, it's much better still better. I have one object, or yes, two things that disappeared, and which is very nice. One is the slide ruler. Do you know what a slide ruler is? It was a wooden thing, and I had an uncle, an engineer, who taught me how to calculate things with a slide ruler. You know what it is? And after these cheap electronic calculators came, it disappeared. It is called, in German I know the name is gesunkenes Kulturgut, that we know what it is, but it's not used anymore. So it's, and I loved to use it, and it was other people didn't know how to use it in the grammar school, and then I knew how to use it, and then one day it was not used anymore. And also I learned how to typesetting. I learned manual typesetting. I worked as a typographic designer for some time. I love letters. I learned how to use it in the grammar school. I was not sure I would be admitted to the university, and I worked in a printing house for a month in the summer just to earn some money, and then I learned how to do it, and then it's disappeared. And of course it's fantastic, which comes to my mind, that I have a printing house here with a computer, and it's fantastic. But still, that old fonts and then these kind of old thing disappeared. So the slide ruler and the manual typesetting. This in 1984. I still remember it existed in Hungary, but then this disappeared. Also, what comes to my mind is ugly colored Eastern-made cars from Budapest. It's also, I knew that to produce a good car, it's very difficult, and the communist economy could not produce a good car. But why the colors of the cars were so ugly? This was incomprehensible for me. And then I later understood that it is the counter-selection process, that reliable comrades were the directors of the car companies, then they chose all the bosses according to reliability, and then they tended to have bad taste. That was that. They were blind to the beauty of color. So that's it. Also shortage, I remember from 83, shortage. There was not enough of anything. And then I remember a rule from 1983 that certain people tried to speculate for the shortage in cars, and then put down several payments for a new car. They only needed one car, but then when they got another car, they sold it in the free market for much more money. And then they passed a law that if you have a car younger than 3 years, then you cannot sell it on the free market, only for the state. And then you know what was the outcome of that? That a 3-year-old, 1-day-old car was much more expensive than a 2-year-old car, because you could sell the 3-year-old 1-day car on a free market. And so, this, I remember this rule also. I laughed at it when I heard about it, how they wanted to prevent speculation. So these things.